Welcome to the Real Dad Podcast.
Yep. Crushed it.
Chewed on that one.
Crushed it.
Welcome to the Real Dad Podcast. Wait, what did I say?
I'm
Something
Dave.
Dad den, though.
It's
There's
the
like
same
a dad
behind.
den thing.
Welcome to the Dad Den.
There it is. Welcome to the Dad Den.
Nope.
It's the Real Dad Podcast. I'm Dave.
Is that it?
That was
Mark,
it.
that's it.
Yeah.
Mark. That's
Alright.
the tag.
I'll do it again. Here
Okay,
we
one
go.
more time. We got this.
Welcome to the Dad Den. It's the Real Dad Podcast. I'm Dave.
I'm confused. I'm Mark.
I'm Joey.
And I'm Brian.
Crushed
Now let's
it.
dad.
You mean Barry
yeah.
White?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, this cold is
This
taking
isn't fair. This isn't fair. This is
Listen,
not okay.
Your problem
Brian's
was you
got a
had a
sexy cold voice.
nasally cough.
No.
He's got the throat.
You have a whiny little bitch cough. You get sick, your voice goes like 3 octaves high, and Brian goes low.
My goodness.
I don't know what to
That
say.
was a different opening, though. There's something off about that. Usually
Yeah?
don't hit both. I think you do Dad Den.
I tried it.
I liked it. Don't get me wrong. It
Because
was
are
just
people
new.
confused? Like, what's the Dad Den? I thought this is the Real Dad Podcast.
I mean, I think they clicked on it. So
Okay, that's fair enough.
I mean,
It's-
we're
says
here
right
now.
here.
yeah,
the Dad Den.
there you
If
go.
we recorded video more often, we'd know. But
Don't fucking throw shade.
Hey, this is big. We've
Hey,
got
we're
cameras
recording, we're
rolling
recording.
here. Big things, guys. Big things.
Anyways,
I appreciate
We might
it, Mark.
upload our second YouTube video.
Oh,
Don't.
snap.
we're recording. We're recording.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, we've
Steps in
got
the right
time. Anyways, no one cares about that.
So, I got a story from the weekend.
Tell them
Okay.
hear it.
My wife was away, so I decided to be fun dad.
Okay.
So I was just saying yes to a lot of things.
Okay.
So it was a super fun weekend for the kids. I took them to like a play place on the Saturday at Neb's Fun World, which is like a local place. They got to play in the arcade there.
Can you share your dad hack? Because it was kind of like borderline, like a bad dad moment. I think you were like neglecting your kids.
It was a dad hack. So at this Neb's Fun World, there's like a big enclosed playground area. So I grabbed a coffee on my way in. You pay for it. The kids get a wristband and they go play. And you just get to sit at like this like park table kind of thing, and you watch your kids play in the playground.
Okay, so you were watching them,
Yeah. So they kept running
but
back
you
and
couldn't
forth.
hear them at all.
Oh man, noise
There's too many
canceling
kids.
headphones and a
Okay,
podcast
Because that's what I got.
was key.
I got grab yourself a coffee, drop your kids off, and listen to the Real Dad Podcast with noise canceling headphones. I'm
Yeah.
like, this guy's in the parking lot right now
Yeah.
having a and
See,
his
that
kids
would
are-
have been a better idea.
Yeah,
Maybe,
that's
I
true.
don't know.
That's true. Well, you can't hear anything when you're in there anyways. It's
Yeah.
just a massive kid.
Oh my god, it's so loud, and the noise canceling headphones were key.
Nice.
Because like it just dampens the sound, everything in there, and then the kids would come running up. You take an ear pod out. You all right, good, go back in there. Like you feed them some sugar, and they just
Yeah.
keep going back and back and back.
Okay.
Super fun, Dad. Then Sunday, they needed to get out of the house. We were having like a slow morning. They were just on screens, and they're like, "We want to do something fun." I'm like, "All right, what do you want to do?" I'm like, "We want to go to Sky Zone, which is like a trampoline park."
Oh, I'm well aware.
So I was like, sure, why not? Let's go to Sky Zone. So we go there, and the kids are having a blast, jumping around, playing everywhere. Also, side note, Flying Squirrel is another trampoline park.
Yeah.
It is much better than Sky
Yes.
Zone.
Oh,
It's an
100%.
FYI. We
don't
hadn't
have it.
been to Sky Zone, so I was like, let's try something new.
No.
No, it's like trash in comparison.
Yeah, no, it's not good.
But they have at Sky Zone these warp walls. If
They
you've
do
seen
have
them.
those. Yeah.
So the kids loved those, the little wall that you run up and you get to the top platform. My youngest, Abby, so cute on this little wall.
Okay.
She is just giving it with her little legs, and because she's so light and small, she gets like halfway up the wall and doesn't come down. She just keeps kind of scaling it up as high as she can get.
treadmill.
Yeah.
It's like a chameleon.
So she so badly wanted to get to the top because she sees all these bigger kids doing it and accomplishing it. And I'm sitting there watching her, and she's trying. She's like, "Oh, I was so close." Wasn't close at all. So then I decided to be a good dad, and like as she was climbing up the wall, I kind of like pushed her up. So I kind of like lifted her up so that she could grab the top and pull herself up. And she was so happy, got up there cheering, like people watching were clapping for her and everything. Now, the stupidest thing about this warp wall is the only way to get down is like a fireman's pole.
Oh no.
There's no ladder, there's no
geez.
stairs,
Oh,
there's
no.
nothing. So
Okay.
my little 5-year-old is up like whatever, 15 feet in the air, looking at this pole that she can barely reach, going like, I'm
like
like,
a cat in a tree.
yeah, she was stuck up there, and I was like, babe, like, come on, like, you can get this, and I'm trying to like coach her into it. I'm at the bottom of the pole. It's not happening. People are watching. I'm like, what do I do?
The
Take the
applause
noise
is fading
canceling
away.
headphones out. Put the coffee down.
I decide, she's like, I don't know what else to do. And I just climbed the pole.
Are you kidding?
I have
Attaboy.
to like attest this to my fitness level now
There you
of
go.
this yoga that I've been doing, but I just grabbed onto the pole and like fireman climbed my way up.
I bet you $1 somewhere there is a video of you scaling
Dude,
this
I
pole
hope so. I
on
hope so.
someone's phone.
Because
sure.
Don't be this guy.
if I watched it back, I would like it. I don't know if it would live up to what it was in my head.
It was actually like 8 feet.
Exactly.
I'll bet you $10 it won't add up.
And I'll bet you $20 there's a ladder on the other side.
We need to scout this. We need to scout this. Someone
Abby
has to
the
go.
whole time.
Yeah.
Someone has to go in there, look around, be like, can I help you, sir? No. I'm just looking.
I'm verifying a few things.
Making sure this is safe.
Yeah, so I two-hand just climb up this
you
pole,
go.
then I get up to where she is. I'm holding
Wow.
on with one arm. I grab her in the other
And you
arm
slide
and
down.
slide down with one arm on the pole like a fireman. I
No
was
ovation, no
like,
clap.
everybody started clapping.
Yes!
It's incredible.
And that just goes right to your ego.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
I was like,
Big time.
Abby was crying later, and I was like, why are you crying? Like, Dad was a super dad. I
Yeah.
just saved you. I just saved you.
High fives all around. I can just see you telling this story to
Someone-
Joy and her just being like, oh my god, I have to do, this is what you like, yeah.
Oh, it was a
man.
big moment. So no,
That's
because when
huge.
Joy got home, she got home right as we were doing bedtime on
Yeah.
Sunday. So she went in to kiss all the kids, and then she went in to kiss Abby, and she's like, "Oh yeah, Abby was telling me all about it, how you were super dad, and
Oh,
got her
that's
down." And I
amazing.
was like, "Yes, it's cemented in her memory."
That's a core memory for sure. That's awesome.
Locked and loaded.
Yeah,
Well
so it
done.
was a super fun weekend.
That's amazing. My my wife tricked me into going to the doctors.
Oh, what a
Tricked
move.
you.
What
Oh,
a
full on like saboteur. Like it was. She's like, "You want to go for lunch?" I was like, "Yeah, I do want to go for lunch. We haven't gone for lunch in so long,
Wow. Wow.
bro." We started driving. We had no kids. I was like, "This is amazing. Like we haven't dated my wife in so long."
Right.
We get in the thing. She's working, so she's kind of like on the phone, like something. And I'm like, "Where do you want to go? Do you want to go to this restaurant? Nothing. Do you want to go to this restaurant? Nothing." And I was like, in my head, I'm just like, "Okay, she's not feeling these options." Which then she goes, "No, we're going to the doctors." And I was like, "Wait, for whom?" She's like, "You, your testicle, your belly, all this stuff. We're just gonna go to the doctors." And I was like, "No choice."
Yeah.
I'm in my head trying to be like, is there anything I need to like say to get me out of here? No, I actually need to use this time for something else. No, she had me. There was
Yeah.
no stopping it.
So
Walked
like a
me right
walk-in clinic, or did she
Hear
book
me
you
out.
an appointment?
This is fate, okay? We get to the doctors. How many times have you gone into a walk-in clinic? Because the way that it works for us anyways, you have to, where your family doctor is, you have to go to that clinic. And my family doctor is different than the kids' family doctors. So mine's and Curtis, we walk in, not a single person in the waiting room. Not one.
Oh, wow.
Not one sick soul in this community.
Wow.
Walk right in. She goes, "Is this closed?" My wife, and the girl at the counter's like, "No, I'm here." I like walk up, scan the card. She's like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, I've got all the issues. How much time you got, lady? She basically says, "I need you to pee in this bottle." Go pee in the bottle. Come back. Within seconds, she's like, "The doctor wants to see you, like upstairs."
Wow.
Yeah, so it was like record time. I thought for sure that we were wasting the afternoon. So I go in. Now keep in mind, I don't even know if I've seen this doctor ever. I don't remember. So this is a hack that I have, is bring your wife with you to the doctor.
Okay.
At least for me. Because if history shows, I stop listening after like certain words. Okay?
Like the first ones.
Well, doctors use big words.
They do.
So they
Right.
count for like at least 3.
Yeah.
Okay? So we go in, and she's like, "What's the problem?" I'm like, "I had this weird pain in my testicle, that stopped, and then now I have this like excruciating pain in my stomach that I've had for a lot of time that I think is either an ulcer or a hernia,
Right.
but it's really bad." So she's like, "Is it pushing in here?" I'm like, "No, I'm good. And then she's like pushing in here. I was like, "Ugh," and it hurt really bad. So then she goes, does the assessment, and she's like, "I think you have what they call, I'm gonna butcher this, but this is what I heard,
Okay.
diverticulitis,
Diverticulitis.
diverticulitis." So I heard die, and I heard tick, And I automatically thought dead testicles. I don't know why, but she's instantly turns into Charlie Brown's teacher, and I'm not paying attention to anything other than I have a dead testicle. Great content for the
I was
podcast.
gonna say somebody's gonna be so happy to hear more about Mark's testicle.
But my wife is like, okay, no, I've actually heard of this and blah blah blah. And basically, what it is like I have like sacs in my colon that polyps can develop. Again, I'm butchering all of this because this is kind of, I don't pay attention to anything. So she's like, you really need to clean up your diet because these things get infected and then it inflames and it pushes on your bladder, and that's why it'll push on a nerve which shoots into your testicle. And it can cause other things down the road. And my dad is going through cancer right now, colon cancer. So it was one of those things where I was reflecting on our conversation that we had before about like going to the doctor and all these things, and it was as simple as I wasn't going. Like I was not gonna go. This was like a hard thing. I was just gonna deal with my quote unquote self-assessed hernia. And my wife was like, okay, now let's go out for lunch. Let's do the things. And the doctor was just like, you just need to eat like a lot more vegetables and like go on a little bit of a liquid cleanse, a lot more fluids to kind of flush the shit that's out of there, and then watch what you eat, because my diet has been kind of garbage the last 12 years. So yeah, anyways, it was just one of those kind of like refreshing moments to be like, it could have been a worse conversation, but it was great to get that thing like, thank you for coming in early kind of thing to like stay on top of this as like a nice refresher, because my wife was very much like, I know you're never going to do this, so let's just take the opportunity and go. Whether she pre-planned it or not, we'll never know.
Whether she'll admit it.
Yeah, that's wild, because you think like if you hadn't have and just kept fighting through the pain, then it probably would have been immobile. Oh, really?
Yeah, because it leads right into infection. So the doctor was like, there's going to be two things. You're either going to take my advice and like clean up your diet and you're going to get better. You might have flare-ups depending on like how bad your diet goes. It's all based on diet.
Wow.
If you ignore it, then it gets infected, and the only way to fix it is to do a scope and go in for surgery, and then you're out for who knows how long.
6 weeks, bro.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where she even wrote me a prescription. She's like, if you notice any like blood or anything like that, take this prescription, but then give us a call back and let us know that you filled it and all that other stuff, because it will become serious at that point in time. So back in the day when I was eating quote unquote clean, I was a very selfish individual because I didn't have to think about a family or anybody else. I was just really worried about eating for me so I could eat, steak for breakfast if I wanted to. I've learned very quickly that I have no idea how to eat. Like we were at the restaurant with my wife, and my wife had to apologize to the server for like not making it look like she was controlling me, because the server's like, what do you want to have for lunch? And I was like, what do I want to have for lunch?
I don't know, maybe she is. She's taking you to the doctor.
She's turned into my mom. It was just one of those things where like I said, I have been reflecting on it, and it's like, how many times do you call on your wife without noticing it? And it was one of those, we were at the restaurant and I was like, I want a Caesar salad, and my wife's like, no, you can't have a Caesar salad. The doctor literally just told you that. And I was like, okay, I want a house salad. She's like, what kind of dressing do you? I was like, what kind of dressing do I want? So it was one of those weird things that just like helps to fall in love with your spouse all over again, because I think as males we can't help but have that like desire to be nurtured for. And when you're on the receiving end of it, at least for me, it just kind of like amplifies those emotions to be like, I appreciate you and all that you do. Where I understand that I could be a pain in the ass, literally, sometimes. But imagine being me.
It could be worse, babe.
So is this gonna help you? I often find it hard sometimes how like we need something bad to happen to us in order to start making changes and stuff like that. Or you had already kind of been on the journey to making some of those changes?
Yes and no. Like we've been fasting, but all fasting really has done for me is just kind of like stress me out about like what to eat first. So like I'll literally be like, I need to eat because it's a certain time, and then I'll stop and grab something to eat, and then I just won't eat for the thing. So I don't know if I've necessarily like eaten cleaner, But that's a very good conversation because the scale's telling me one thing, but then clearly something's happening internally that is telling me another thing. So I might look a certain way or like I'm dropping in the weights, but I'm not healthy by any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
So I think that's where it needs to start, and then you need to clean up on the inside. The learning curve comes into like you don't realize how habitual like food and stuff is. So like in the mornings, I'm very much like a cereal type of person. I didn't have that today, so then I'm like driving. I'm like, okay, I can't have anything with seeds right now. So my go-to is like a bagel, and everything bagel, toasted with herb and garlic cream cheese.
Right.
Can't have any of those things. So I'm scrambling. I'm like, I don't know what to do. I just stopped by the grocery store and I bought a package of muffins. That's what I ate today, bran muffins, because I just panicked. I'm like, I don't know what to do.
It's the most boring thing you could possibly eat.
But I googled. I'm like, with this dead testicle disease, what can I eat? And it said bran. Like that was the only thing. I'm like, okay, my head goes bran muffins. I go in, I buy a big thing of bran muffins and one pepperoni stick, and thank you so much, and an apple. I ate the apple too.
Oh, attaboy.
It is hard when you think about diet and what to eat and how to, like, as a kid and even as a parent, so often like you're trying to feed your kids things that you know aren't going to cause fights because you just want you want the day to go smooth, and even if you're exhausted by the end of the day, you really don't want that. So it's like, I know they're going to just eat this. Maybe it's not the healthiest thing in the world for
Get
them.
it in you.
Yeah, but it's easy to make they're going to eat it, right?
Yeah.
But it's so hard to think about like training kids and teaching kids about nutrition because they don't want to or don't care to learn about that at that age. And then like even I didn't care about it until now. Like when I was in my 20s, I could eat whatever I wanted and I would be fine.
Yeah.
Now it's like you're having to, like you said, like relearn how to eat properly and balance a meal. Because even in school, like they've got that Canada Food Guide pyramid, which I feel is like bullshit to begin with.
100%.
Like,
It's owned by the dairy farmers of Canada. So you do not need to eat that much dairy.
but it is hard to think about nutrition, and I know my dad and his brothers and my brother have all had kidney stones, and I'm like a ticking time bomb as to when kidney stones are going to hit me, and I know that it's likely that I'll get them, and I know that you can control it with diet.
Yeah.
But until you get the kidney stone, then sometimes it's like, oh, okay, now I'll take care of it. But it's like, why don't I think about it before it gets to that?
How often do you guys think about or plan dinner?
Well, very little.
That's what I'm saying.
Very little.
And then it's like, so that's the conversation. It's like, how much energy do our wives put into thinking about feeding the herd of people?
A ton.
And I can't even think of like breakfast for myself. I'm like, my head goes, Google this thing, I can find that somewhere. And then I go find, and I'm done.
Yeah.
But the fact that I was thinking about it, I'm like, because tonight we golf, and I was like, okay, I'm going to have a tuna sandwich, because it's Tuesday tuna sandwich night, obviously. But tomorrow, I'm like, I want to surprise my wife with, I can call it Robin, but I want to surprise Robin with dinner. I don't want her to have to think about it. I want it to be like a thing. My brain is mush, and it's one day. And this lady does it every single day, and we're not talking about like the craft dinner just put thing in front. Like it's like legit dinners that you like. My kids are gonna love growing up, and I appreciate it so much.
Yeah.
I don't know why I feel comfortable telling you guys and not her this, but I mean I'm sure I'll work on that later. But it is something that I find exhausting, and I also find comforting that I'm not alone because I spend zero time thinking
That's
about
one
dinner.
of Maddie's like biggest things with me, or just in general. Like it's such a hard job, such a tiring job. Like you're just thinking of new things all the time.
Yeah.
Or, like you don't want it to get stale or whatever.
Yeah.
But she also loves cooking, so it's like I want to make these good meals, but like the actual like planning and making sure that you're getting good deals on things and stuff like that. It's like I think she would say it's almost her biggest job as a mom.
Yeah,
like,
I would agree.
Yeah,
that she does.
Because and like you just said, the planning part,
Yeah.
right? Because it's like you need to have these ingredients in order to make certain things, and they're only going to last so long in the fridge or in the cupboard. So then it's like I got to go to the store to pick up these things just for this, and then if something throws a wrench into the plan and you don't end up making that, then do I need to freeze it? But then am I going to take it out and thaw it the next day? Like there's so many trains of thought that go along with it.
And then if you live in the house with Brian and Maddie, there's another level to that too, because you're just not going to let Brian cook dinner because it's going to be a five course meal. And all your other dinners are
I
going
do
to look like
like
shit.
to cook. I
So-
do like to cook.
Do you have to dumb it down though, to kind of thing, to like
No.
not? You don't want to overdo it. You
No,
can't.
no, I
Do
can
people
cook.
know
I can
about the
cook.
cake?
Can
Have
you-
we talked about that?
I don't think so. But here's another. Can you outcook your wife? Because my wife will be like, "You cook dinner," and then I'm burning shit, not on purpose, but like I'm not outcooking my wife. That's just not happening.
Grilled cheese, I'll outcook all day. I am a
Oh,
grilled cheese
I actually
master.
crushed a really good grilled cheese last night. I added a couple steps, which I highly recommend.
Here it comes. Here it comes. Take notes, ladies and gentlemen.
You crack open some garlic and you
You
rub
had
the
me.
garlic oil on the bread, and then as it's cooking, you take honey and you pour honey on your little brush, barbecue brush or whatever, and just dose that out.
Oh
Yeah,
my
put that on the
gentlemen.
bread.
I
Flip
told
it
you.
over, do it again.
Mom ain't
my
doing that.
It's like a
goodness,
honey
it's
garlic grilled cheese.
Oh, Brian, you
And
might have changed
it's
my
actually
life.
so good.
I'm telling you right now. I'm
This
telling
was last
you.
night, and I was like, Maddie, I think I just found a new thing.
Right?
This is delicious.
Yeah.
Oh my
Probably gonna
goodness.
make another one at 11:30.
We're sending us a video of me making one of those
Yeah.
things. I enjoy cooking as well. I don't do it very often. I have one night a week that I do dinner now, which is tonight, Tuesdays. And because it's golf night and it's also my wife's late working night, so she doesn't finish until 5:15.
Yeah.
So I have to get the kids, get dinner, do the things that she does every other day of the week, but it's very stressful for me on this day.
Yeah.
But it kind of tunes you into what they deal with most other days.
Yeah.
And like, to the point where like I've had Tuesdays where like, F it, I'm just not going to go to golf. Like this is too stressful to try
Yeah.
to figure out how I'm going to, when I start dinner so that it's ready, so that I can go get the kids, bring them home so that it's ready for them to eat. But yeah, making meals and meal prep.
If you honestly, I would
Big
throw it
deal.
out as a challenge to the listeners. Like, if you want a mind frig, you can't tell your wife, but you have to surprise her with like a home cooked meal for the
Yeah.
So
entire
you have
family.
to tell her it's happening. Otherwise, she'll
Oh,
already
yeah.
have one prepared.
Exactly.
And then you'll fuck
That's why I was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she'll be like, I actually thawed the chicken and we have to cook that tonight.
Exactly,
So we just
yeah.
ruined everything.
See, I'm terrible at this.
But this is the surprise portion. It's the night before. The night
There it
before you say, babe, I'm making dinner. tonight."
Wow, you've done this before. Okay. Okay.
So when my
It-
wife
it
was
goes
away
well.
for the weekend,
Alright.
I kept trying to get the kids to go out for dinner, and then they were like, because I would give them not an ultimatum, like a choice, because we went out to Neb's Fun World. They wanted to go to the arcade. I was like, okay, the arcade costs more money.
Yeah.
We can't go to the arcade and go out for dinner.
That's good.
I was thinking like, let's go out to a restaurant. That way I don't have to cook or something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And they're like, no, we'd rather eat at home and play at the arcade. I was like, shit, now I
Yeah.
have to like make food and do
Yeah.
all these things. But yesterday, Monday, I was having a terrible, like, super anxious, stressful day. Like,
Oh, no.
I was just feeling all out of sorts
Okay.
and could not kind of collect myself. But then it was like earlier than we would normally start dinner, and I asked my wife, like, hey, is there anything we're doing for dinner? How can I help? Because like I need to get out of my head. She's like, oh, well, we were gonna cook this chicken. I was gonna do this or this. I was like, do you mind if I cook the chicken? She's like, oh, what the hell's wrong with you? Like there clearly is something
This is
wrong.
a trap.
Day.
So then I just threw some earpods in with some music
Yeah.
and just cooked, and it helped so much because it helped get me out of my head, where I had like. It was one of those days where you feel like you're getting pulled in like 20 different directions.
Right.
You have like this pulling you one way, then an email pops up, then a text. But like it was just and like all that caused so much chaos. So then to just throw in earbuds, put on a podcast, and just like focus on cooking a meal felt really good. And I was like, oh, this cooking thing isn't so bad. But it's like no, I just like ignored the rest of the world while I did it. There were no kids pulling on me.
It's like
and
going to
annoying
Neb's
me.
Fun World.
Yeah. Noise canceling headphones are my dad.
That's the thing, though, is
investment.
like when you're cooking dinner. Well, in my case, like when I'm cooking dinner, the kids are all over Maddie.
Yeah.
Right.
When she's cooking dinner, the kids are all over her. Still,
Yeah.
it's just like, yeah.
Lose.
Come on, guys.
Yeah. I'm right
Chopped liver?
here.
Yeah.
Over the weekend, it was funny because the kids are great at like just ripping your heart right out of your chest and with like their brutal honesty.
Yeah.
So my wife, I'd been like working like crazy, And then my wife's like, your dad's gonna sleep in, and then I'm gonna make him breakfast. And it wasn't her best. It wasn't a 10 out of 10 breakfast. Aubrey was like, these eggs are awful. And I was like, no, I think that they're great. She's like,
Dad,
like,
you told us not to lie.
yeah. I was like, oh shit, we're gonna have to do this. And then she had breakfast sausage. She goes, can I have breakfast sausages that aren't burnt? And I was like,
Oh, snap.
yeah. So I just like kind
Quite
of
the
side-eyed
day.
my wife a little bit, and she goes, you're cooking breakfast from now on. And I was like, that'll be my
That's
thing.
fair.
That's
Yeah,
fine. That's totally fine.
Take on breakfast. Breakfast is
I'm
a
a-
That's
great
an easy
meal
one.
to
I'm a-
take
oh,
on.
I'm a
Especially
great-
breakfast for dinner.
Yeah.
It's nice and
I'm a
easy.
great scrambled eggs,
Yeah.
bacon. Like that's the only thing that I am confident that I can cook very well. They're always fluffy. They're always light. They taste great.
Mm.
And I think that's what I'm saying. I think I've overcooked. I outcooked my wife's eggs, and my kids rubbed her face.
And that was a mistake.
So were you guys taught how to make any meals?
No, fuck.
Like when you were growing up, did you make any meals with your parents or like learn how to do any of that? Other than like barbecue?
Cereal,
I feel like
toast, ice cream. Yeah.
yeah,
Those
exactly.
three things down pat.
I feel like
Grilled
that's-
cheese, craft dinner, and
Never made
Well,
them.
I got great at making sidekicks. Those packages of pasta. It's like macaroni.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, creamy Parmesan sidekicks.
Oh,
that was the go-to.
yeah.
It was so good.
Yeah, we didn't
All the
get
other
that.
ones I didn't like,
Right.
but that was the only one I liked.
Ours was very like our growing up was very like gender specific. So we chopped wood out back with the dad. I helped him build numerous extensions on the garage that were wildly unnecessary. So many hang-to roofs. that
So like
just-
picture like you know a quilt, like how you take a bunch of different things and
Yeah.
sew it together to make
That's a
it. This
great way to
garage
explain it.
was a quilt.
Because it was random material too. It was whatever he found.
a quilted garage. I like that.
So bad.
I love
But
that.
yeah, all that stuff, taking out the garbage, all that. But we never ever cooked.
I feel like that's usually what holds me back from offering to cook and do stuff is I literally just don't know how to do a bunch of
I
it.
don't know either.
So even if I am, it's like, all right, do I add this or how much do I add this? And then there's also the added factor of like the kids only like things certain ways, and if you do it a different way than mom did it, then it's like, well, I don't like that. And it's like
100%.
you're asking how to do things, but it does just take taking that like initiative or that step to learn how. Like even on TikTok, I've been saving like air fryer recipes like
Yeah.
crazy because I'm like, oh, that looks freaking good. All you
Yeah.
have to do is toss it in an air fryer.
Right.
Perfect, I can do that.
Yeah.
And it's like being intentional about it. One thing we did like 1 week was we set like a schedule for a dinner schedule for the week.
Mm.
And it helped so much. Like it alleviated so much stress.
Really?
And then we haven't done it again. And it was like, why haven't we done that? And it's like one of those things that like I'm literally just remembering now
It's
as
an
we're
extra.
talking about
It's
it.
an extra thing to do, though. I find with like, they need to eat like those little habits need to be intentional and like worked upon to form. But like, yeah, I think that those things are just like they sound so great and maybe they do help.
Right.
But just if it's not kind of like you're not a scheduler person.
They,
I'm not a scheduler person. I love the idea of it.
Exactly,
It's just
yeah.
not me. I'm not that way.
Maddie makes a schedule, so every week it'll say Monday through Friday what we're eating that day.
Okay.
And it actually helps. I mean, I don't think she would say that I take this initiative very often. Sometimes I can look at, like, if I'm home earlier than they are, which
Oh.
is very rare,
Yeah.
but I can see what's on the schedule and I can start something
Right.
without having to ask her, which is a big bonus. The no asking.
No, meal prep is huge. We did it for a time, and again, you just fall away from it. I don't know
Yeah.
why. Well, I know why. It's because we are all in the craziest time of our lives.
Yeah.
Right.
Trying to raise young families and work and do all the things, right?
Yeah.
But we've done that. We have our chalkboard wall
Yeah.
that has a 2-week schedule, and that's what we used it for forever. Was
Just food.
meal prep for 2 weeks. And when we
Right.
do it, it's fantastic. We know exactly what we do. We know when we got to hit the grocery store, what to
Yeah.
get. We don't have wasted food. It's so good. But we'll do it for a month, and then we'll have one busy weekend where you can't do your meal prep on Sunday, and then it all just goes to hell.
Oh.
Because then you're just trying to play catch up at that point, right? And as soon
Right.
as you start to fall behind, then there's no coming back from that.
This is very quickly becoming a food episode, but also like let's throw a little like what to expect when you're expecting type question into this as far as like meal prep around having a baby.
Right.
I know when we had our first, we had like a great community around us at the time, and like everybody kind of took a turn making meals, which was great. I mean, sometimes it's a bit of a coin toss as to what you're getting. Like, you're getting somebody else's shepherd's pie. That
Thank
has,
you.
like,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just
It's
stuff that-
awful.
yeah.
No, just say it. It's awful.
Where
And-
nowadays you can give, like, skip the dishes stuff, but
you
it's still,
feel
like,
there's
the meal
guilt.
itself.
There's
Yeah.
guilt there where you're just like, oh, thank you so much. And you get that, and you're like, oh my god, this is a blessing. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Then you eat it, and you're like,
I don't have any of the guilt because Maddie's way more cutthroat than I am. She's just like, nope, we're not eating that.
But this is what I mean. It happens to everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone gets some sort of coleslaw that tastes like dirt,
Right.
or they get some sort of like mushy, gross like shepherd's pie or something like that. That's just like been frozen for, or like they got it when they were expecting, and then they forgot about it. And they're like, what can we give them?
This is a wedding cake that's in the
Yeah.
freezer.
You're
forever.
re-gifting your friggin' oodles and noodles.
6-year-old casserole.
Thank you.
Error. So yeah, I think you just avoiding the older generation when you do those meal trays.
Right.
Because our generation gets it. It's like, here's a skip gift
Skipped,
card.
yeah.
Do
That works
whatever you
great.
want.
But does,
Yeah. Highly
does a skip
recommend.
does a skip good? Like, is that like, would you be happy to receive a skip
Yes.
card?
Oh, yeah.
Because you still have to then go through the decision making of what to buy and then
Yeah, but I
ordering
think
it.
I think you guys had that hack where, was it you guys? I think I might be putting you on a pedestal.
No,
But
yeah, you brought that to the table. It was from something that you had saw read. I know where you're going, but
Yeah, somebody else just ordered the food for us, and it just
Yes.
literally
Yeah.
showed up at our house.
We've done that.
We were like,
Right.
Yeah, Ian and Sarah did that for Joy and I one night.
that's the hack.
Yeah.
Like literally,
Super
like,
thoughtful.
hey, would you prefer chicken or beef? You
Yeah.
get this text message, and you're like, am I coming to a wedding?
Right.
Yeah.
Chicken. If it's white and not on a bone, and they're like, just pick the friggin'. I'm like, beef. And then 20 minutes later, this thing rolls up, and you're like, oh my god, this is phenomenal. And it's even better because I didn't have to think of the ingredients. I don't know the thing. I just sit there and eat, and it's like, you don't need to be pregnant to do those things. You could totally surprise a
Right.
friend, like
Yeah.
you said. Like if you're going through some shit on a Monday and you know that that's happening,
Right.
you could totally go out of it. Even a coffee, like. On Monday we had a pretty stressful day, and my wife, who's fasting, we had an appointment in the morning. It's Friday. So we had an appointment in the morning, and she was like, now I have to go to this meeting, and I'm not going to have time to get a tea, and I won't be able to get like breakfast or whatever, because whatever. She had to go to this meeting. So we had taken separate cars so I could come meet you guys at golf, and then I ordered her skip the dishes coffee and a bagel. Don't ever do that, by the way. It's super expensive. Like ridiculously
But goes a long way,
expensive.
yeah.
But I was like, I sent her a text and I was like, hey, don't stop and grab a coffee. I ordered you a tea and a bagel. It should be at home by the time you get there. And like, that goes a long way, if you know what I'm saying.
That's
Yeah,
nice,
yeah,
yeah.
So like little tiny things like that of just like being like,
Oh, that's a good one. I'm gonna write that down.
in the moment, you're welcome. In the moment of being like, what's one thing that I can kind of do to help, kind of thing. And honestly, it was like a game changer. Again, don't make it a whole habit out of it, because it was like, I think the coffee and the bagel cost like $34 or something like that to have it delivered. Yeah. So and then
Delete.
maybe just pick it up yourself and bring it up.
we were going opposite
Yeah.
ends. But yeah, I was just like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and then I'm like, oh god.
And you can, like, if you're doing that for somebody as a meal, like, you can always over order because leftovers are typically good too. Like, I
Yeah.
remember when somebody did it for us, they got us Swiss chalet.
Mm-hmm.
So they just got some chickens and then they got a few appetizers too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I would have never usually ordered the appetizer to go with it, but like, all right, it's here. I'm gonna
Yeah.
eat it.
Yeah, one thing that so I've done it before where when we were filming, there's a guy that like he is not like he just doesn't have a lot of people, so you could Uber Swiss Chalet to like his house for Thanksgiving because you know that he's like there by himself. You get to knock on the
Right.
door, and then it's like a dinner that's in there. So I think more like doing more of those thoughtful things I think,
Yeah.
for people. And you don't even have they don't even have to know that it came from you.
Right.
You know what I mean? It just it's just that thing there that kind of helps somebody else in need. It's awesome that we live in a world where we're able to do these things with technology,
Yeah.
but
Right,
also super scary, you know?
Well, and something that I think we need to work on is guys, because guys are really bad at supporting guys historically.
Yeah.
Where it's like that vulnerable relationship where it's even the willingness to say, I'm having a shitty day.
Yeah.
That hasn't been there historically, where it's
Yeah.
like, we're starting to turn over a leaf, I feel, where guys are allowed to have feelings, which is nice. And then just actually being able to support each other too and learning what that looks like and what it is. I saw a post the other day that was really cool. Sad but cool, and it was a transgender man, so went from a woman to a man, and he was saying one of the biggest struggles was that big culture shift in having grown up a woman and feeling the support of different girls and women in at the time her life, because then you get used to that, and then once they transitioned, like that doesn't exist for males.
Yeah.
They were like, I don't feel supported at all, and it was like it's a big breakdown, and like they were talking about it like this is a thing that it happens a lot with transgender men, because you come over from the support of your female group, but then you start to get more male or transgender male friends, and you just don't feel that same support and that culture shock that hits.
Yeah.
It's like, man, yeah, I guess as growing up as a man, you get used to that. It's
Yeah.
like, I'm in this alone, and I'll support myself, and we'll figure out life as we go. And I think we've talked about it 1,000 times, but that's why we do this. Like,
Absolutely.
we want to be that for guys who don't have that in their life, because we know what that means to each of us to have that. And I think we even need to lean into that more and learn what that means to be better supports for each other, and to be more vulnerable with each other for those times where we are going through a hard time, because even though we do have a pretty close relationship, the four of us, I'm sure we all have struggles right now that we don't share with each other.
Right.
So being able to lean into that more as a brotherhood and be able to support each other is huge.
Yeah, one of the big things, and like just throwing this out there, is I want to thank the three of you immensely, because Friday we were in a golf tournament and my son had to go to the hospital, and we had just talked about like, do we take the kids to the dog thing, and this is one of those situations where I did not think that he needed to go to the hospital, and I was pissed, I'm not gonna lie. I was so selfishly upset that I couldn't finish this charity golf tournament, because I felt like I had to go and be there. And I don't know which one of you guys sent me the message, but basically it was like, hey, like checking in, how are you, like how's he doing? Actually, he's really great. He had to get a shot of whatever. So like it really put things into perspective of being like, it kind of took that stressor off, like not having the guys, like a guys group that like, oh, you're whipped or you're this or you're that or like whatever, when you're just trying to like, be there for your friends and your family. And at the same time, it's like, and yourself selfishly, like I don't get to do those things very often, and it was like the one time that I was like, okay, I'm there, and I want to like, I just want to enjoy it, and then you get that call where you're like pulled away. It was like I was like kind of like fuck, like this sucks moment, but then later at night I think Dave had texted and was like thank you basically for like choosing to go home and be there for the family, versus just ignoring that, having the me time that I wanted, and then dealing with the ramifications when you got home. And it was one of those things where like I forget like how much joy I bring to my kids, because I didn't really experience that type of relationship. So like when I get home, my kids are genuinely excited to see me, and they love they love spending time with me, and I feel that now. And it just goes back to one of those things where we had talked about your dad, Dave, leaving work early so that he can go and like get to your baseball games. And a big part of me was like, is this one of those moments where like they're gonna look at it and be like, my dad was always there, and sacrificed X, Y, and Z, or is it me just being like, fuck, I guess I gotta go do this again now, and I don't get to do the thing. So it was really like a struggle on the way home of like choosing which type of attitude I was gonna have towards this.
It's good to have that drive home for that.
And that's a long drive to think about it. And like
Yeah.
I think all of us like felt for you, because like it was a day we were all looking forward to, and it was a lot of fun, and it like to see somebody go, I think all of us kind of put ourselves in your shoes and be like, fuck, that would be hard. Like that's a hard move to make, and then it's harder to go home with like a smile and not be like, this better be fucking bad. And then it's
Right.
like, you don't want your kid to be bad. Like,
Exactly.
you don't want it to,
Exactly.
you want it to be okay.
Yeah.
You don't want it to be bad enough that, oh, well, it was bad enough that I left kind of thing. It's
Honestly,
like, no.
it was so fucked up because we've gone through the whole hospital thing and like 12 hours there and all this stuff, right? So I get the call and it was like do you want me to leave? No, I think we're fine. Okay. So then we get to a point in the golf tournament where like I'm at the parking lot.
Right.
It's not like if I got the call and we're like, and again, this might sound for like the mom listeners, this might sound kind of like dickish, but like if we're in this golf tournament, I don't even know, there's like hundreds of people there,
Yeah.
and we're in a cart, and you're like, it doesn't just mess up my thing. It's not like I can just take the cart and go to the car. It's like someone else has to leave the round
Right.
to then drive me. We're all being kind of policed, and then I have to find my cart, and it's like a whole thing.
Yeah.
So I'm at the car now. I need to know, is this bad enough for me to come? She's like, I don't know. I haven't eaten yet. We're in the thing. And I was like, so I made the decision
Right.
to be like, fuck it. I'm just going to go. And this is my decision to go.
Oh, you made the decision. I didn't know if it was like I need you to come home.
No,
or
it
it's
was not that. And that's where I think,
Cool.
that's why it was harder for me. Because it was
Right.
like, I'm choosing to do this.
Yeah.
Because it was one of those times where you're just like, we said with the dinner, like, I'm just doing it.
Right.
Because it makes sense right now. And it was I felt like I was like, you know, one of those moments where you're like, I knew I should have done those things.
Yeah,
it was one of those moments where I'm like, if I don't do this now, I think I'm going to regret it and I'm going to feel even worse if we get into like hole 13 or something and then I have to, you know, revert or walk all the way back to the car or whatever.
Right.
And then that just adds other time to it. So like, why are you not? Because I had a 20-minute walk from the hole that I was at to get to my car kind of thing, you know?
Right.
So anyways, I'm driving back and I'm not kidding you. I got off the on-ramp or the off-ramp
Yep.
and she was the car ahead of me.
Oh, wow.
Like I got off and we're on the phone and then I was like, where are you right now? And she's like, I'm driving on the thing. I was like, I just got off the highway. And then she was like, hilarious. And then we pull in, we get a thing, and then we were able to have dinner like just like as the family, which we haven't had done in a long time. And Matt was like super cuddly and it was a really cool like moment, and it would just made it like it made it worth it. And you know, he's still he has asthma, so he'll be on his like little puffer thing for a while, and he's great with it now, and he does the thing. But it was very, very, very hard to make that decision. If I'm being honest, like I don't want to be like, you know, like
You're just lucky you weren't as many drinks deep as I was by the night. There was no way I was
Dave
getting
wasn't
into a
going
car.
Yeah, I think I saw that, or I heard you giggling or something, and I was like, there it is.
There was no scenario that Dave was driving on Friday.
A
No.
bar cart on a golf course? Woo! Give me 3.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
Well, good job for you making that choice, and like I think better job trusting your gut. Like
Yeah.
Right.
that is like huge, just to like be in that moment and feel something and decide to follow through with it, and not have to live with that regret of not having done something. Right?
Yeah, and I think for me, anyways, what kind of like led it was like worst case scenario, I'm gonna be with my kid when he's sick.
Right.
Worst case scenario.
Yeah.
And you know, if you flip it the other way, if I choose to stay, who knows? Like worst case scenario, and then I'm guilt. Like something could be, he could be hospitalized, and you're going through all these things. Like he could end up back in the hospital,
Right.
and I'm sitting here playing golf.
Right.
That's gonna eat me alive. Like I don't need my
Yeah.
wife to be like, you know, holding grudges against me, because I'll do that to myself. And I don't want to be that type of dad
Yeah.
either, you know. So as much as I do love golf, and I don't even know the last time I played at 18. I wouldn't hold that above obviously the kids and stuff like that.
Choosing your family is never the wrong decision.
Yeah.
No, but it is
default.
hard though. It
Of
is
course,
really, really hard.
But you're never gonna regret it, is what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's a really important reminder for people, because when you're in the moment, selfishly, you're like, fuck, like the beer is free, the
Right.
food is free, like the golf is
I'm having a good time here.
amazing,
Yeah.
the company's really great. I smell cigars everywhere. Like this is my thing. There's
Yeah.
like people are having massages outside. It's like
There's espresso everywhere.
it's the most. This is
Really
heaven.
was very heavenly.
It's literal heaven.
Yeah.
And and then it was one of those things where like I get in the car home and I'm driving and I'm like, you need to check yourself. Like it's a golf tournament that you're lucky enough to even get the invite to. So if you weren't at this golf tournament, like what, you know what I'm saying? Like it was just kind of one of those things. So it just really like put things into perspective, and I'm not trying to be like a superhero or anything like that, because I know how hard that can be if you are having an honest conversation with people that you're not going to be judged on, because it wasn't a fun time. It's not something that I wanted to do at all.
And along that same note, and it goes off of our conversation we had today at the golf course with Greg, another buddy of ours, because he works in the same industry of renovation. And he was talking about the company that he's in. A lot of the guys don't want to go home.
Yeah.
They don't have a great relationship at home. They don't have a great family life, so they are happier at work than they are at home.
Yeah.
That's not their safe.
Yeah, that's not their safe place. Where it's like, we're a group of guys who enjoy what we do. We enjoy working, and we obviously enjoy when we're there with each other, but we also want to go home.
Yeah.
And I think that's a note for anybody out there that is a good dad and likes going home. It's okay to want to go home.
Yeah.
And it's
And
okay to
voicing that.
own that and say, no, I'm going home tonight. And even I've run into that a few times, even when we played the basketball with the guys, because obviously we'd come back here and pot a lot, but even a couple of times we weren't potting and they'd go out for drinks. And it was getting to the point where I'm like, no, I want to be comfortable saying, no, I'm going home. Because I want to go home and see my wife. Or I want to go home and see my kids.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
And
And
making
even
that
if
the
you want to
norm.
make a jab, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
That's going to roll off my back because I'm extremely happy going home to see my family. Like that is my safe place and that is my happy place.
Yeah.
So own that. Like if you're a dad out there that's a good dad, I don't want to keep labeling it as if there's a bunch of bad dads out there, but own it and enjoy it and relish in the fact that you have a good family life that you can go home to, because a lot of people don't have that.
Greg made a really good point there too, because I think that the kind of soft joke there was like, I don't have a toxic relationship, so I genuinely want to go home and spend the thing. And then it was like somebody said, like, that is the reason why you have a toxic relationship, is because the avoidance there or whatever, right? So I do think that like there's nothing wrong with having beers with buddies or like spending time with the thing.
Yes.
But if you're at a situation where you like genuinely feel like you either have to lie to your spouse or lie to your buddies about spending time with the other one, then I think you got a little bit of a bigger problem.
Yeah. Well, check yourself.
Before you wreck yourself.
Yeah.
One problem you shouldn't have in life.
Nice.
Oh,
Is choosing a railing for your deck.
that was lame. I'm
I just I felt things diving down like a
that was good. You gotta swoosh it in there. It was good. That was good.
I would almost spend time with my wife and install after that.
I
Ad
mean,
read.
making food decisions is hard, but making railing decisions doesn't
Much
have
better.
to be.
There it
There's a good one.
Much better.
Regal Ideas is the only railing you need to think about for installing on your new deck or old deck. If you have an old wood railing that's falling apart, you really don't want to stain it. Just tear it down, put up a nice Regal Ideas aluminum railing around. It's going to last, it's going to keep the family safe, and it's going to be easy to install. 3 easy steps. 1, 2, 3.
And guess what? If you got 4x4 posts that are still in good condition, you can keep them. They have a 4-inch post that'll slide right over top.
Just that easy.
That's magic.
From wood to aluminum, just like that.
Really?
Yeah,
You just slide it right over top.
Slide right
like
over
a
top.
condom.
Well, I don't use condoms.
Nice. Especially not metal ones. That's
Metal condoms?
don't do it. Do not advise.
Hey, Regal Ideas. Could be on to something. Give me the well, Dave. Give me the well. Well?
Oh no, there was one more thing I wanted to say and I've forgotten about it.
Smells like a future episode to
that's
me.
what I was gonna
Never
say.
mind.
I was gonna challenge people because we talked about.
I've already
food.
challenged someone. Who are you coming in?
I wanted to throw another challenge to like.
Okay.
Alright.
You're gonna be listening to this at whatever point during the week, and I want to challenge you to take on dinner that like a night of that
I
week.
feel like
Right.
that was my challenge, but yeah.
Did
I'll
you
let
say
you-
We're doubling down. I
But
like it.
also, there's a lot of people on here who might be listening who are that person.
Right.
So delegate.
I love
Delegate.
Delegate.
Pass
Do you know why?
that push
Do you know why Brian just said that? Because his wife started listening.
There
She
you go.
listened to her
She's
first
one
episode.
one listen in. She's probably not coming back for it. I'll be shocked if she does.
Give it to her. I love you, babe. You're
Yeah.
the best.
But yeah, so cook a meal and then take a picture of it.
You
And
can't
tag
order
us
it.
in
You can't order it.
No, you have to make
You
it.
have to cook it, and you have to be willing to face those little fucker judges too at the table.
They'll let you know.
They will
Yeah.
tell you how bad you butcher it, but that's not the point.
Take a picture of it, put it on social media, and tag us, and brag about how you just cooked dinner that night.
And if your spouse who never cooks is not a very good cook, I don't know. Maybe just ask him to order it.
Yeah. Not the worst.
Yeah. Or her.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And even if the meal isn't a 5-star meal, you can still give us a 5-star rating.
Yes. Well, that's illegal to ask for 5 stars.
You keep
but
saying it's illegal.
It's
But like
illegal.
who's coming after
policing
me?
this?
Who's this cop and the
don't
SWAT
know.
team that's
I don't
going
know. I
You
honestly,
asked.
Somebody
I heard
bust
about
down
it
the
on one podcast like 7 years ago that you're not allowed to ask for 5-star reviews. But there's nothing wrong with
Right.
leaving a 5-star for a review for the best podcast in the dad category, in my personal opinion. So if you're enjoying the show, tell everyone you know about the show, share the shit out of it, and let's help us grow this thing.
Can we get AI to leave us reviews yet?
Listen,
Yeah, I can do anything.
listen. Hey, I'm not there yet.
If we say the number 5 a lot, will that mean it leaves 5?
5 stars. 5 stars.
It's like that's a
5
mentalist
stars.
trick.
5 stars. 5 stars.
I looked up in the sky and saw 5 stars. There's 5
We
lemons.
need a 5th person. We're only gonna get 4 stars.
Brent was here. Brent did
Yeah.
great.
I might be back, everybody.
Who knows?
Okay. I like your
Well, we can go.
I want them to just put like train wreck music. Or like,
that was really
We
off
did that
the rails.
ourselves.
Maybe next
Well,
time.
you could have just said well, and we would have been fine, Dave.
well,
You had to bring us back.
We really gotta iron this out, boys.
That's the fun.
that worked out well.